Hello again, welcome back. You're watching 5 News. If you've just joined us, a reminder of our top story this evening. Demonstrators have breached security at the Houses of Parliament. The group climbed onto the roof to hold a protest against airport expansion. It was a simple hug from one little girl that portrayed a story of neglect in a whole country. Marina is just one of thousands of children in Ukraine with HIV. But instead of being loved and cared for, they're put in orphanages and segregated from the healthy children. 5's Victoria Gatenby went to the city of Bila Tserkva to meet the forgotten children.
Slavico's 3 and learning to read. His mum, though, isn't here to help. She's HIV positive and abandoned him in this orphanage. Slavico's not infected, but living here isn't much of a life either. This orphanage is one of the better ones in Ukraine, but some of its practices are still shocking. This is the first time a TV crew has been allowed inside. Children like these who are healthy live in one part of the orphanage, and staff are happy to show them off to visitors. Those with HIV, like Marina, are locked away. They sleep separately, live separately, and even play with separate toys. And when we visited, the kids here craved affection.
The staff here are doing their best, but there aren't enough of them to provide these kids with the one-on-one care that they really deserve. Look what happens when I put 1.5-year-old Marina down. She comes straight back for a hug. Come on, here you go. Hello.
Ukraine has the fastest growing rate of HIV in Europe, and increasingly young women are being infected. The orphanage, though, defends its policy of segregation.
We keep HIV children separate from the rest for administrative purposes. It's easier that way because they eat different food, take different medicine, and they get sick more frequently.
4-year-old Sasha is one of 3 children who are definitely HIV positive. The rest are still being tested. Either way, they're tarred with the same brush. Children's charities say HIV children are being stigmatized.
It's absolutely unacceptable, honestly speaking, and we think and we work on it. We try to lobby in our government. It's unacceptable and should be changed. And it should be changed by providing a more publicly campaign.
Attitudes towards those with HIV are slowly changing in Ukraine, but not quickly enough for these children. Slavico has managed to wave goodbye to the threat of HIV. Most of his friends here won't be so lucky. Victoria Gatenby, 5 News, Ukraine.
Well, the issue of women passing HIV onto their children is not just a problem in Ukraine. Leading celebrities are backing a campaign to make sure that pregnant women around the world are given the care they need to prevent them passing HIV on to their babies.
Hello. I have a story I want to share with you. It's the story of Monique, but it could be the story of any woman or mother.
Gwyneth Paltrow narrates a film based on a poem called The Gift. Using actors, it tells the story of how HIV can destroy the lives of countless women and their babies. Supporting the campaign is Jemima Khan, an ambassador for UNICEF. She's met many children affected by HIV, including these here in Kenya. She came in to tell us about the campaign. It's great to see you, Jemima. Thank you for coming in. The statistics are awful, aren't they? Almost every minute of every day a baby's born with HIV. It's hard to contemplate.
Yeah, the scale of the problem's enormous now. They have not only born with HIV, but every minute of every day a child dies from an AIDS-related illness. And even worse, 1 in 5 mothers or 1 in 5 pregnant women only has access to the treatment that's needed to stop herself from transmitting it to her baby.
I know you've done a lot of research. You've seen it all firsthand, haven't you? Are there particular stories that have stuck in your mind?
Yeah, and it's always really important, I think, to go and actually see that the work that's being done. And I always find that this, no matter how shocking the statistics are and the figures are, it's always the actual personal stories that hit home the most. And I was in Kenya for the launch, their big global launch for their AIDS campaign. And I met 2 brothers, one was 14, one was 4, Raphael and Mark, one was HIV positive and one was HIV negative. The older boy had to give up school age 9, he'd had to nurse a dying mother, bring up an infant from a few months old, did all the domestic chores, and then when their mother died, the little boy, the 4-year-old, was taken into care, and they were briefly reunited because they weren't able to be in the same home because one child was so sick. And it was this incredibly joyous moment because they'd obviously missed each other, they were very close, they hadn't seen each other for a year. But it was incredibly heartbreaking and sad because it was the last time probably they'll ever see each other because the little boy was so ill at this point, it was clear to everybody that he was probably going to die.
And having 2 sons yourself, no doubt that must have really struck home.
Yeah, I think that's always the case. You always look for the example that you can relate to, and as I have an 11-year-old and an 8-year-old boy who are very close, that for me was particularly poignant.
The most distressing thing is, from where we're sitting, if you put the right healthcare measures in place, it's a relatively simple problem to solve, but it's a question of putting the healthcare there in the first place.
Yeah, that's the point. It is completely preventable. And actually, the difference between those 2 boys' lives was, it's £1. To stop that younger brother from being infected by his HIV-positive mother would have taken £1. We have the drugs. We know how to stop mothers passing it on to their children. With the right drugs, you can reduce the chances of a child catching the virus from her mother down to 2%. 2% chance. You know, those are good odds, and we just need the political will now.
Not just that, but it's people like you, isn't it? People like you, David Beckham recently going to Sierra Leone, I know campaigning on a slightly different issue, but high-profile celebrities who actually bring this to our attention.
I quite wish it wasn't the case, because frankly I hate giving interviews. I'm not very good at them, and I'd much rather the head of UNICEF was here, who's much more articulate and more informed than me. But it's just not the way it works, unfortunately.
Well, you do a very good job of it, I have to say. Thank you very much for coming in.
Thank you.
Jemima Khan speaking earlier. Microsoft has been fined more than £600 million by the European Commission. It claimed the